new spline file. Let's get rid of all this extra stuff that starts off with the new files. Just click them in the top left and press delete, so we have a totally blank slate. I'm going to start with a kind of vibrant / muted yellow, because I'm going to be using the normal materials, which doesn't really have any yellow in it, so this is going to give me a little good contrast. And I'm going to start with a 1200 by 1200 square frame, which is good for Instagram, Twitter, you know, all the good social media stuff. And you know, it'll offer you some good definition and all that kind of stuff. We're gonna hide the helpers, hide the grid, hide all that kind of stuff. And now we're gonna make a shape of any kind. You can do whatever kind you like. So what I'm doing now is holding shift and making a sphere. By holding shift, this makes sure that the X, Y, and Z are all the exact same distance and shape, so that my sphere is the same dimension in all 3 dimensions. So I'm going to set all 3 positions, X, Y, and Z, to 0. This centers my sphere in the spline window. And I'm going to add a new material and add that normal material, which, as you can see, like I said before, doesn't have much yellow in it. So what I'm going to do now is go over to flat, and it's going to make those little flat surfaces. Hit smooth and edit, go to the subdivision modifier and set it down to 0. And this makes my little longitude, latitude, kind of flat edge circle, which is kind of like my little signature sphere that I use for a lot of my NFTs. So that's my starting point. I got a centered circle, and I'm ready to get started making a little animation. You can zoom in and out, and as you can see, the position stays at 0, which means it's completely centered in the spline window. So I'm going to add a new state, a base state, and a regular second state, and I'm going to add rotations to the second state. This is going to be 259.9 on the X and the Z axis, 259.9. Just 1 point away from 360, which is a full complete rotation. So what this is going to do is going to make it look like it's doing 2 360 rotations at a time. So next I'm going to add an event. I'm going to add a transition event to my sphere, and it's going to go from the current state, which is going to be my base state, to the second state, or just the regular state. And I'm going to change it from ease in and ease out to linear, which is going to make sure that the speed of the rotation stays completely stable the whole time, instead of slowing down and speeding up towards the beginning and end of the rotation. I'm going to set it to 4 seconds, okay? So this means that it takes 4 seconds for a full loop of this rotation to happen. That's very important for you to remember. Doesn't matter what number it is, but just remember that 4 seconds is the amount of time for the full loop to take place, right? Okay, so now I'm going to click on my objects that all have different backgrounds, different colors. Here's the yellow background. You can have a blue background, a pink background, and they're all kind of the same look, but they have different colors in them, and that way you'll be able to make a different series. So here what I'm doing is I'm making the GIF, right? I'm setting it to 30 frames a second, hopefully. I might have forgotten to do that, but you should do that. I'm making the duration 12. The important thing here is that 12 is a multiplication factor of that number 4 that we used before. Here's me making it 30 frames a second. So 12 is a multiplication of 4, which means that that loop is going to go 3 times, and then when it finishes, it's going to be right back where it started from. So when you hit this record button right here, it's going to go for 12 seconds, which is 4 times 3, and it's going to make sure that by the time it finishes at 0 seconds, it's going to end exactly where it started at the beginning of the loop. Now that's very important. So this is going to process. You'll see the processing thing going on at the top, depending on how fast your computer is. You can start a new folder here right now and put it on your desktop. Just name it NFT, and you know, name it NFT1, whatever it is that you want to name it, and it'll be NFT1.gif. And that'll be the GIF file, which will be kind of the display low quality file that is displayed to the users on OpenSea or whatever. Now we're going to switch to MP4, keeping it at 30 frames a second, keeping it at a duration of 12, and we're gonna start that again. Hit that.